All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. So my first video back in the studio, son. And my brain just got working again because I was up really, really late for 4 straight nights. And we're going to talk about Khamzat Chimaev. We're going to talk about Darren Till, whether or not Darren Till has had a very, very negative impact on Khamzat's career. Because that's what someone posed to me in my email. It's a question that they posed. I get questions sent to me in the email all the time, which is great because a lot of times I use them, well, I mean, not like all the time, but sometimes I use them for like video topics. So I'm like, that's a good question. I could talk about that. It doesn't mean that I agree with it. It doesn't mean that I think that Darren has had I'll tell you exactly what I think later in the video. I mean, not that much later. But yeah, that's why we're talking about it. Someone asked me that question. I think it's an interesting topic. I'm also going to tell you guys a story about the airport yesterday because there's new information. Okay. So Khamzat and his team were checking in. They went through airport security with us. And we were literally like right next to them. Their gate was lit. We were C7, they were C9. So we were just with them, right? And something funny happened that I will tell you guys about. And it has to do with them missing their flight and then them being really pissed with the people that closed the door. As every person who's ever had the doors closed on them is. Okay, that is one of the most infuriating moments ever. You're like, dude, you knew we were checked in. Why'd you close the door? Especially given that there were so many of them. There was there wasn't like a small group of them, and they closed the doors on them. And they were going to Miami, which I assume was an international connection, just because Darren wasn't there, and I don't know. Miami is a big international hub. It's neither here nor there. I'm making assumptions, but I'll tell you guys also a rule about YouTubers that everyone should listen to. Not everyone. Doesn't really matter unless you're trying to be a YouTuber. Okay. Now, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. I'm going to take this moment right now to plug my favorite sponsor, at least my favorite one today, which is Yo Kratom, son. YoKratom.com, $60 kilos. Doesn't mean it's time for anybody to start doing Kratom, but if you use Kratom, it is really, really cheap. $60 kilogram. I don't think you probably don't even know what the weight is of the stuff that you guys buy. But if you don't, trust me, you're paying 5 times as much as you will on Yo Kratom, and it's just as good. So, YoKratom.com, give it a run. You'll love it. So yeah, I want to talk about all this stuff, okay? So, I'm going to start with the airport story, then we're going to talk about Darren Till. So, like I said, we were checking at the exact same time as Khamzat Chimaev. We went through, we kind of ended up walking down this way. Gabby and I were super fucking early for our flight. We never get there 2 hours early. Like, I used to always get to flights 2 hours early, and then Gabrielle convinced me you only need to get there an hour early. Whatever. I don't like rushing. I would prefer to just get there. But nonetheless, we were there we were actually over 2 hours early when we checked in. So after we checked our bags and we realized Khamzat's right next to us, they're checking in. We were like, all right, well, let's just kind of dawdle around since the dude who just fought last night's right there. I want to shake his hand and tell him congratulations. So he got done. We were right next. Before he even got to me, 2 people had already come up and asked for pictures. And so I just went up and I was like, listen, man, incredible job. Congratulations. He was like, thank you. He's chill. He looked exhausted, man. I can't even imagine how exhausting that must be, like to go through a battle like that. And then, he's famous, man. Like I said, we went the same way he did. He must have had a dozen people literally between check my bags and the gate, which is on the Jacksonville airport. It's not very much. It's a small airport, man. 12 people went up and asked for pictures. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. But we heard him say to his team, he's like, hey, we're late, brother. And then they went to Starbucks and hung out for 20 minutes. Gabby and I went to our gate. You can see both places, Starbucks is there, the gate's right there. And we could see, we're like, dude, they're going to miss their flight, man. Miami, it's like the doors are closing. They're still over there because we heard them say, we were literally right next to them. We knew where their gate was. And I was like, dude, I think they just missed their flight. So they end up coming up and they miss their flight, right? And they're there's a huge crew of them, dude. They're all Venom bags. It's all fighters and trainers. And there's 5 or 6, 7 of them that are trying to get on this Miami flight. And this poor lady, dude, is just she's trying to tell all of them that she can't open the doors because you can't. And Gabrielle and I are sitting there just oh man, these poor motherfuckers, they're going to be here all day. What a nightmare. Now, what ended up happening is our flight got canceled, and we ended up sitting there for 6 hours first, which is hilarious. They were long gone before we ended up getting sent to a Fairfield Inn hotel, which is really ridiculous. But anywho, so here's the rule, though, for YouTubers that I was alluding to. So there was a moment. Now, Khamzat's chill and calm, but there were a couple guys in his crew that were pissed, right? And they were getting really bad. And Gabrielle was like, should I film this? And I was like, no, there's no reason to, because here's the deal. Let's say that something happened, right? Like, let's say that one of these guys flipped the desk over, right? Now, you would think that as a person who has a YouTube channel, it would be really valuable for me to have that video, right? Okay, well, maybe. But here are the rules for all of you who are considering this line of work. Well, assuming that you want to be considered a peer, right? Someone that can be kind of trusted if you have relationships with people in the organization or like fighters or whatnot. If a story comes out and like a video comes out, a damaging video, you could talk about it all day. You could talk about the new details that come out, all that. But you can't break a story like that. Okay? Like if Khamzat flips a table, gets arrested, yeah, you don't break that story. Okay? Someone else breaks it, then you talk about it. Otherwise, it's the difference between an analyst and a rat. Okay? Like you're a rat if you break that story. If you are an analyst and you know what happened and you're just waiting for something, you kind of look and you're like, if anybody breaks a story, I'm going to talk about it and I'm going to get on it early. So you just pay close attention. Someone else breaks it, then you talk about it all day. You can talk about that all day. Now, there are no official rule book for this. This is just, to me, common sense. Okay? Common sense. Common sense. If you come into information that's damaging to a person, would you rather have them think that you're a person that can be relied on, or would you rather have them think that you're a person who will narc them out and destroy their life? I mean, it's a no-brainer, man. Because guess what? High probability, if you're a person who likes the sport, that there's a high probability that you might end up in a situation where you don't want people knowing your shit either. So if you end up successful on YouTube and you're a public figure, you don't want people telling fucking stories about you, do you? So keep that shit zipped. Anyway, but yeah, so now let me go to this Darren Till thing. So here's the deal. The question is, did Darren Till derail Khamzat's career? And here's the quickest answer to that. No, and also that's disrespectful to Gilbert Burns to even say that, okay? Because the implication of the question is that Khamzat was doing so well before, and then Saturday happened, and now he's like this different guy. And that's been my problem with the build-up to this fight from the beginning, right? It's like, you guys, Gilbert is a fucking monster, dude. You pull Khamzat out, and I would say if those guys fought multiple times, I don't think that Khamzat wins every single time. Like if they just fought right now, if you think Khamzat, like if they had five-round fights, I bet you they go 2-3. I don't think that there's any indication that Khamzat is a significantly better fighter than Gilbert. As a matter of fact, there isn't any. That is not the case, actually. The difference between Gilbert winning and Gilbert losing was Gilbert getting caught with a single jab at the end of the first round where he got knocked down because Gilbert would have won that first round. And then it would have been 2-1 Gilbert. So, Gilbert is right there. And Gilbert almost knocked out Kamaru, dude. Gilbert is as good as it gets in the welterweight division. In my opinion, you have 4 people in the welterweight division, and then you've got everyone else. You've got, and we'll see about Luque and dude, you know what? Welterweight's stacked. Welterweight is stacked because Kamaru is clearly the best welterweight right now, but the guys that are right there are right there. You know what I mean? Because you got Kamaru, then you've got Gilbert Burns, Khamzat, who are kind of right there. You got Luque, we'll see. You got Leon Edwards, we'll see. You got Colby, we'll see. Those are tough fights for any of those guys fighting each other. Those are tough fights, man. And the idea that because Khamzat, who is just beating nobodies, and then Li Jingliang, who's not in the same category as those guys, because he didn't run through Gilbert, that means that like he's, his quality of, performance declined. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that even a little bit. I think stylistically, like I said a dozen times before the fight, this was the hardest fight in the division for him because he cannot rely on his ground game. He was going to have to stand and bang with Gilbert. How many times did I say that? How many times? And we were like, we just don't really know what he has on his feet. And so to find out that he doesn't have the most crisp striking in the world and he relies on his power and he's a little bit loose, is that shocking to us? Of course not. Of course not. So no, I don't think that this weekend indicated a decline in his performance, and thus the entire premise is stupid, right? It's wrong. Like, there's no indication of that at all. You know, I would say the question itself might indicate that DC was right about maybe Khamzat should have stayed behind the scenes and stayed quiet so that there weren't those, you know, you don't even get to see what he's doing so that people can ask questions like that. But even that is kind of like, I don't know, man. You know, I think that Khamzat is just as good of a prospect as he was before. And I think that Darren Till is going to benefit immensely from being on his team. Darren Till will benefit. I don't see there being any negative effect for Khamzat. Now, Darren, interestingly, you know, when Khamzat came out, the place was going so bananas that, like, I didn't even think to look for Darren. So Khamzat came out. Darren clearly must have walked right by us, and I didn't even see him. But then I thought, I was like, oh my God, I wonder if Darren's in his corner. I looked, and Darren was up on the fence like this. Darren looked 5 times more nervous than Khamzat. I don't know what that means, but you could tell he was feeling the moment. It's possible he just wanted to be in there himself. You know what I mean? Like, he's a fighter, of course. Like, that place was going completely crazy. So I'm sure a big part of him wanted to be in there fighting, obviously. But yeah, no, I don't agree. I don't agree even a little bit that his career has been derailed. If anything, I think his stock has gone up, and I think so did Gilbert Burns. So good for everyone involved. I am exhausted, and I'm going to go eat some food and then pass out. So what do you know about that, dude? What are you guys going to do about that, son? Huh? You guys want to come put me to bed, huh? What? Anyway, anyone who was at the show with me, thank you guys so much for coming. We had an incredible time. Anybody who came up to me at the, at the fights, taking pictures or just saying what's up, thank you guys. Incredible time. I love that I get to run into you guys when we do this stuff. So, we'll be at 274. We will not be at 275, and then we'll be back at 276. So, we already sold out for 274, but we'll have tickets for 276. 274, we're switching it up. So, here is, like, by the way, we're done talking about Khamzat and Darren Till. If you're done listening, then you can take off. We're going to talk about some other stuff now. So with the live events, though, each one is like this kind of like evolving experiment. We've only done 2 of them, right, where we've been bringing people. The first one was in Vegas. I made a bunch of mistakes in terms of how I kind of did things. We went to Colby and Mostal. We were all there. We had good seats. It was awesome. But in terms of just how we like did things, like it'll continue to get more and more refined. But also for the tickets, you know, it's not going to be every time where you can get tickets like that, right? Like where there's room to like take people to Rogan and then also have front row seats, you know, like there's not going to be room to like make a business out of that, obviously, at every show. We got super lucky because we got those tickets before Khamzat and Burns were on the card. But for 274, because, you know, it's a huge fight, we were like we couldn't get tickets like that. So it was like, all right, so what do we want to prioritize? My priority is always going to be front row of a section. So for that one, we're in a level above and we're in the front row. So we're going to be looking down into the octagon with no obstacles, right? Like no obstacles at all from, you know, anyway, it's neither here nor there. So it'll be really interesting. Like, and I'm just saying this because, I mean, you're going to know anyway, once you see the pictures, like where our seats are at. But that's, and I'm trying to figure out where the best seats in the entire place are. So I'd say over the first like 5 events that we go to, we'll kind of experiment around and we'll figure out where the best seats are. Because I genuinely do not believe that the floor seats are the best. I think where we were during that show are as good as it gets. I don't think that there are any better seats than that in the house, except maybe that's not true. The one section over from us, which was right in line with where the people came in that front row. But Jesus, go look up how much those fucking tickets are most of the time. So anyway, we'll see. Maybe we could do a really special show where we just charge more and we get some ridiculous. Well, I don't know if the seats will be better than those ones, though. I don't know how we're going to improve on this weekend, to be honest. It was so fucking fun, man. But anyway, that's what I got. Love you guys. Peace.